Hello everyone, my name is Dr. C.S. Raghuvanshi. I am Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, FET, Rama University. Welcome you all to this video lecture series of a subject Software Engineering. Before going in depth, we will discuss about what are the prerequisites and what are the learning outcomes of software engineering. So the prerequisite of software engineering are students should have a understanding of computer science and information technology. Suppose you want to enroll in the subject software engineering. That time you must ensure you should have basic understanding of computer science and information technology. I am not asking about the detailed knowledge, but must ensure little bit and basic knowledge of computer science and information technology. You must have basic of programming and programming languages, and also have basic knowledge of softwares. What are the softwares and what are the types of software? You must have this basic knowledge to start this subject. Apart from all this, you must have little bit knowledge, little idea of traditional style or traditional approach of software development, or you must have basic idea of what are the problems in traditional style of software development that we are going to address in the subject software engineering. So these are the some prerequisite to better start of software engineering. Now we will discuss about what are the learning outcomes, means what you are going to learn in this subject and what you will be able to do after successful completion of software engineering. So the first thing that you are going to learn in this subject, that you will be able to analyze and design complex and large software system after completing this subject. And one more thing that you will learn is to apply engineering principles and techniques in software development. The next learning outcome is student will be able to develop, maintain and evaluate large scale software system. Means after completing this course, student will be able or student will have sufficient ability to develop, maintain and evaluate large size of software system. And one more thing, student will be able to develop efficient, reliable, robust, and one more important thing is cost effective software, because developing the cost effective software is a major concern of software engineering. The one more thing, the student will be able to work as a team member or team leader of a software development team, and student will be able to understand the ethical standards and legal responsibility of software development. So student, now these are the some learning outcome of software engineering. Now we have clear understanding about what are the prerequisite of software engineering and what are the learning outcome of software engineering. Now we are going to start the software engineering. So first, before getting touch about what software engineering is, you should clear what actually engineering. Then we will discuss about what actually software is. Then we will understand what software engineering is. So student, before defining the engineering, most of the students are confused what the difference between engineering and science. They suppose both are same, but there is a difference, there is a little bit difference between the engineering and the science. Most of the engineers consider themselves as a problem solver. What do you mean by problem solving? Because engineers suppose that they are the people, they will provide the solution to the problem. Many of the engineers or most of the engineers starts their work with problem identification and end their work with providing the solutions. So we are clear, the engineering are the people who are concerned about providing the solution to the problems. But the scientist starts their work with the study of nature, with the study of things that around of us, and they are intent to discover the principles that working behind the existing things, or we can understand the principle behind the nature. So this is the little difference between the science and engineer. Engineer starts with the problem identification, where the scientist starts with identifying, with discovery of the principle working behind the nature. Or you can understand the engineering is a subset of science, or science is a superset of an engineering approach. So now we come to our main concern of software engineering. So now we are in position to define software engineering. The software engineering is an engineering approach for developing the software. Getting my point? What I am saying? Software engineering is an engineering approach, means the scientific approach for developing the software is known as software engineering. Getting my point? Now we come to the point, what software? Okay, so before going in depth about the software engineering principle, the need of software engineering, the domain of software engineering, we should clear about what actually means of software. Getting my point? The simple definition, the simple understanding about software is a set of programs, or you can say the set of instructions is known as software. But according to IEEE, the software is not only the set of instructions or set of programs, it includes some more thing also. What are the other things that include in the definition of software? The associate files, the instructions code, and the data on which our code is going to execute, it comes under the purview of study of software. So the very simple definition of software is simply a set of program, or you can say set of instructions. But according to IEEE, the software is defined as a collection of programs, procedures, rules, associated documentation and data. Means according to IEEE, software is not only a set of programs or is not only a set of instructions, but it is more than that. It includes, okay, programs, but also include data on which we are going to execute our programs, and also contain associated documentation. We will learn later in detail about the documentation, because documentation is a major concern, is the main part of software developments. But in traditional approach, we are concerned about only typing the code. We are concerned about only writing the code. We never bother about the documentation. But in engineering approach, documentation is more than to the developing or writing the code. And one more thing, it also includes some well-defined procedure. Getting my point? So we are very much clear, the software is not only a set of programs, software is not only a set of instructions, it includes programs with data, associated documentation and procedure and rules. Now come to the engineering. What do you mean by engineering? We are clear about the software, but now we should clear about engineering. Engineering is a systematic approach, or you can say scientific approach of developing software product, or not only software product may be anything, but we need to follow systematic approach in engineering. Now come to the main concern, what software engineering. So in very simple term, engineering approach for developing the software is called software engineering. But according to IEEE, what software engineering is? The software engineering is a application of a systematic, disciplined, quantifiable approach to the development, operation and maintenance of software, that is the application of engineering to software. What is meaning of this? Means software engineering is not only limited to the development of the software, but it also consider maintenance, operation and development. Most of the books and most of the people understand that software engineering is only concerned with the development of software. No. Software engineering not only limited to the development, but it also works for the maintenance and the operation of the software. So we are very much clear about what are the prerequisites, what are the learning outcome, what do you mean by software, what is the engineering approach, and what is the software engineering. So now in the next step, we will learn about what actually have the engineering approach. And the engineering approach is works in how many steps. We will understand this. So in the engineering approach, we will work in steps. We will work in phases. And how many steps are in the engineering approach? In general sense, there are total 6 steps in engineering approach. And the first and the most important approach is, the step is problem identification. Suppose we want to develop the software and we are keen to follow engineering approach. So in engineering approach, I will start my work with problem identification. Means first of all, I will clear myself about the problem. What actually the problem for which I am developing the software. So the first and the most important step in software engineering approach is problem identification. And after clearing about the problem, the next step will be the conceptualize the solution. What do you mean by conceptualize the solutions? Means after identifying the problem, I will start thinking about the solutions. What are the probable solutions for the problems? The solution may be hardware solution. Yes, there is a problem and I can provide the hardware solution also. But in my concerned subject, I will look after only the software solution. But in general sense, suppose I have a problem and that time I am supposed to provide the solution and I come up with the software hardware solution also. So in the second step, we will learn, we will discuss, we will think about the solution. Getting my point? So this is the second step in engineering approach, is to conceptualize the solution. Solution may be the hardware solution, or solution may be the software solution, or solution may be some other also. Getting my point? So after completing these 2 steps, first problem identification, second conceptualize solution, and the third and the most important step is the planning. Okay, now I am clear about the problem, also clear about the solutions. Now I will start doing the planning, how I will proceed for the, getting my point? I will plan how much time I will need to develop the solutions. This is also part of the planning, because before going in depth, before moving ahead, I will need at least 6 months to solve this problem. I will need at least 6 months to give the solution. So this is also comes under the planning. And one more thing that I will do in my planning, whether I have the technical competence for developing the solution, I have or not. Means I will plan what are the technical competence needed to develop this software, is also comes under the study of planning. Getting my point? One more thing that I will do in my planning, I will make the budget also. What actually financial need to develop the software. This is also comes in the planning phase. Getting my point? So in the planning phase, generally we will estimate the budget. One more thing, we will estimate the time requirement, and one more thing, we will also examine what technical competence this software solution needs. Getting my point? After doing complete planning, we will move to the next step, and the next and the most important step is the design. After getting problem, after having idea about the solution, after doing complete planning, I will actually move into the implementation phase. And the first step in the implementation phase is to design the software, is to design the solution. Getting my point? And in case of the software solution, we can opt object-oriented design, or we can use function-oriented design, or we can use some other approach for designing the software. So in the designing phase, we will decide what design approach, what design principles, what design techniques we are going to use for developing the software. So this will decide in the fourth step. And in the next step, that is the fifth step, is the development. Okay, after deciding the design, we will start our actual writing of programming code. Programming code means instruction, typing the instruction so that we can see our software in functioning. For making software functioning, we need to type some programming code in some specific programming language. For typing the code, for writing the code, either we can opt C, C++, Java, or any other advanced programming language like Python. So this is known as the development phase. And the last and the most important phase is the implementation. After doing all the things, after completing all the programming, we are in the position to implement the software, or we can say we are in position to hand over the solution to the client for which we are developing the software. So these are the total 6 steps that we follow in engineering approach. So student, I think you are clear about what engineering approach is and what the meaning of engineering approach. The meaning of engineering approach is to follow the systematic step-by-step approach for developing any solutions. But in case of the software development, in the case of the software solution, we start with problem identification, then we move to the conceptualize the solution, then planning, then designing, then development, and finally the implementation. This is all about today's class. In the next class, we will discuss about the software development life cycle. Student, in the next class, we will discuss in detail some of the basic life cycle model, that is the waterfall model. Till then, thank you very much.